The president, as you know, has been tweeting today about Puerto Rico as a powerful new storm threatens to strike as soon as tomorrow. This is what the president tweeted. He said, wow, yet another big storm heading to Puerto Rico. Will it ever end? Congress approved $92 billion for Puerto Rico last year, an all-time record of its kind for, quote, anywhere. That number, as you know, Abby, that's misleading for many reasons, but the president often cites that $92 billion figure when talking about Puerto Rico. Is he signaling he may not be willing to provide more aid, if necessary, to the American citizens on Puerto Rico?
It does very much raise that question. I mean, I have to think back to when President Obama handed off the reins to President Trump, and you have to imagine that in those conversations, the fact that there are natural disasters that a president has to deal with is one of the things that he would have been told going into this job. You don't get to control that part of the job. It doesn't ever stop. Mother Nature doesn't ever stop. There are going to be hurricanes and tornadoes, and President Trump seems to be, in some ways, implying that the Puerto Rican people are bringing this upon themselves, or that they are the source of some kind of headache for him by maybe potentially in the future requiring more disaster relief funds. But that's just a part of the job. And you're right, Wolf, the number that the president used in that tweet is not accurate. It's an estimate, a guess about what they might need in the future. Only $20 million has even been allocated up as of right now for that island that was basically devastated by multiple hurricanes in a row. So these are people in desperate need. These are American citizens, and President Trump seems to continue to be unwilling or hesitant to help them in their time of need. And a lot of that has to do with his political disputes with people on the island, political leaders on that island.
That's an important point as well. Ryan, how do you interpret this tweet on the issue of Puerto Rico from the president?
I mean, he doesn't talk about Puerto Rico as if it's part of the United States. And, call me cynical, but I think the president sees Puerto Rico, where Spanish is a dominant language, and it's not a state, as somehow foreign, somehow not American. It's not the first time he's treated Puerto Rico as something other than part of the United States. And I frankly don't think I'd be surprised if he knew that Puerto Rico was a part of the United States before he became president. What's a little surprising, although I guess we shouldn't be shocked, is that this far into his presidency, he still treats it that way, that he still does not see himself as president of everyone that lives in the United States and all its territories, but likes to play different parts of the country off each other. So I think it's a really troubling and sad tweet. I know it's easy to get a nerd to some of the Trump outrageous stuff that Trump tweets, but I think this one's really, on one of the worst things he does is treat Puerto Ricans as if they are not Americans when they are.
Samantha, what do you think?
I think I agree with my colleagues, and I'll also point out a point that we've become so used to, but these are official policy statements by the President of the United States. When I worked under Obama and under Bush, you cleared numbers before you put them in an official policy statement, and the president is being so casual about an impending natural disaster. He doesn't understand the science, of course, and he's just throwing numbers around and reinventing history almost as often as he makes it. So yes, he has treated Puerto Rico not as part of the United States. Yes, he has not responded well to the actual disaster management needs on the ground. But he also is just tweeting off the cuff about anything that comes into his mind. And frankly, many people that still support him don't call him out on this stuff. And this fake news about what he has or hasn't done continues to percolate.
Let me get Joey's thoughts. What do you think, Joey?
I have to tell you, Wolf, I am just hopeful that moving forward in the event that something does, is significant, the hurricane that hits Puerto Rico, that the response is massive, that the response is helpful to the people. And if it's anything like Maria, I think they're in for something. But I am concerned about the president. I am concerned about his prior statements as it relates to Puerto Rico. However, again, I remain hopeful that if something occurs, that he could put that aside and be helpful to the people of Puerto Rico. They certainly will need it.